Hey guys, it's Jeff here, and a lot of people have been requesting for like terrain builder tutorials, like a lot of friends of mine, and they don't exactly know how to do it, but they want to get started. So I thought I'd make this kind of tutorial for everyone else out there, because a lot of the other ones are not really in depth and don't really tell you what to do. It's kind of you're just copying them, and you don't actually know what you're doing. So hopefully I can try and change that. The first thing you're going to need is, well, you're going to need some kind of image editing software, preferably Photoshop or GIMP, just some kind of professional one that's high quality and can do lots of detail and lots of effects and everything. The next thing you're going to need, if you go to your Steam library, you go to Tools, you need Arma 3 installed, obviously. You can install Arma 3 tools here, and then, you can just right click, play game, and there you go, you have Arma 3 tools. You're gonna need to set this up. It doesn't take too long, depending on how good your PC is, but you just need to go to Project Drive Management. You need to mount your work drive and hit run, or you can just hit mount Project Drive. And what that does is it makes you a new drive that's only on it disappears on startup. You will need to do this every startup unless you make a setting, so every time your PC restarts, your P drive will go away. It's not like making new space, it's just renaming a path which is like documents and Arma 3 projects and just making a shortcut to it basically. So once you've got your P drive, you're going to need a lot of the Arma 3's assets in here, and the easiest way to do that would just be to extract the game data. You hit run. You might get errors, and if you do, it's probably an issue on your side. Not much I can do. You just have to go around the forums, or Ribsose, he has a tutorial on how to do it. I'm not sure whether it goes in depth, but I know he has one on one of his part 1 terrain builder tutorials. Or you can just look on the forums how to do it. It's not too hard. So yeah, just hit extract game data. You might get errors, but just see whether you can actually go in terrain builder and it works. The next thing you need to do is you need to install Bulldozer, and then once you've done that, you're pretty much set to go into terrain builder. That's all you really need. The next thing you're going to need are some source files. I've made a template which I'm going to work on, and I will also put the template in the description, and also some kind of like updated one of the projects I'm actually doing. So every single update I do, I'll put it in the description as well. So this is the template I made. So it's only got the config. This is just based off Lakeside's one, so just get it off. You can get it off any map, but I find Lakeside's probably one of the easier ones to edit. Yeah, we don't really need any of these objects, so I'm just gonna remove these. These aren't important. However, any of the A3 stuff is, so just gonna delete that. There we go. So that's your config. In data, I have a texture file. This is grass. I'm gonna change it though later on because I'm not a fan of this grass, but yeah, that's the grass texture file. We have the RV map where it lists the path to it. So this would be the PBO, and then it would be data, and then it's asking for whatever it is, which is the nopx.paa, and then over here you have the same thing. Just a reminder, guys, every time you rename your folder or PBO, if you get white textures, it's probably because you need to change the path of your RV map as well, because that can cause it to have just white textures when you go in game, or black. So in the source, I have an L3DT folder for us to put our L3DT project. So yeah, you're going to need a software called L3DT. It's free to download. However, you can get the paid version. Yeah, just type L3DT. I suggest you use the free version to just learn how to terrain build, but your satellite images and the textures in game are just gonna look really poor quality. So if you're looking to make a professional map that you want to use and make it look really nice, I would get the paid version, but don't pay unless you're really confident about actually knowing how to terrain build. So just download the free version for now, and then see whether you can actually do it. The only difference really is the limitation to your resolution you can export. or actually render, so you won't be able to make high resolution images on it. We also have the map legend PNG, so we'll select colors here, the actual layers, and put the textures on it. We have layers.cfg. What this does is you're gonna have an image on your terrain, and it will see, for example, if color 210251, which is blue, this is just the normal codes for the colors, you can find them on Google, I think it's just the RGB colors, it will link to GDT Greengrass, that class over there, and that class is linked here, so you'll put the path to the actual texture that you want to use. And that's all the basics really, but we need to actually get a height field. So the height field, you can generate it, you can get it off real world terrain. So to get it off real world terrain, it won't be accurate, but you can go to this website here, I'll put this in the description. You can just find any odd region, select it. Down at the bottom you have your geotiff, just select what you need, put your email, submit, and it will just let you download it. You've got a .tiff file, and then when you import it into Terrain Builder, I mean, there may be, like, it may not be accurate, like, it may be super mountainous, it may be way too mountainous compared to the real one, but there are ways to fix the range and height all over the forms and stuff like that. You can even import it into L3DT and fix the terrain in there, and then try exporting it into Terrain Builder, and that could work. So the easiest way, presumably, would be to use L3DT's also generating tool. It can generate height fields and satellite images, mask images, just fine. It does it really well, actually. But it does it okay with the free version, just not as well. You won't get high resolution images. So I'm going to create a new project, which, yeah, just file new projects. You can create your own kind of terrain with a blank one, just do the terrain yourself. But for the sake of the tutorial, I'm just going to auto-generate one with the recommended option. For resolution, they need to be in multiples of 1024, 512, like that kind of multiples. So the next step would be 2048. Yeah, so the terrain would roughly be 1k by 1k. That would be about 10 kilometers by 10 kilometers when you put that into Arma. So if you were to do 4096 by 4096, you would get 40 kilometers by 40 kilometers. One thing to keep in mind, in L3DT, for the terrain resolution, 1024, it multiplies it by 10 when you put it into Terrain Builder. So 1024 would be the same as 1024.0 in Terrain Builder. It automatically scales it up, so you can just keep it the same, but I'm just gonna use 1024 rather than anything else because that's my preferred map size. Just gonna leave that. I'm just gonna leave this all default for the sake of the tutorial. Alright. So we have a design map, your height field, your water map, attributes map, terrain normals, light map, and texture map. Your texture map, your light map, terrain normals, all of this, yeah? It needs to be a high resolution if you want it to look good. So let's say if your terrain is 1024 by 1024, you would want your satellite image and your terrain normals to be 1024.0 by 1024.0, so 10 times the amount, because 10k by 10k just, it looks perfect in game. It's not blurry or anything, while 1k by 1k, it's not very good. It looks quite blurry in game and generally just looks very poor quality. So if you do want to make a map look beautiful, you're going to need the full version of L3DT. But just use the free version to practice making it. You don't need it to be that high of a resolution when you're just practicing to make a map. So water flooding, I'm just gonna let that do its stuff. Attributes map, right. I'm gonna make a high res 10 times. I want it to be 1024.0 by 1024.0. If you do have the full version and you're thinking of making your final map, and you want to make your other images 10K by 10K, so high resolution, and make them look pretty, your attributes map has to be a high resolution too. If you make your attributes map 1024 by 1024, and you want to make your texture map 1024 by 1024 0, whatever, so 10 times the size, it needs to spend a lot of time rescaling it. And rather than taking 2 minutes to generate the other images, it would take 2 hours because it would have to rescale this. So make your attributes map the size you want all of your other maps to be, okay? So preferably 10 times the amount of the actual terrain size. Just going to hit next there. Normal mapping, 10 times the size again, because I want that to be high resolution. Light mapping, it generates where the shadows will be, so it makes your texture map look nice and pretty. So I'm just going to change the direction of the sun, because why not? Light mapping, again, higher resolution, otherwise the shadows are going to be kind of blurry. Texture, which is going to be high resolution, and then it's asking to save it before we proceed, so I'm going to go to my P drive and save it inside my source files. So source, and then I made a folder called L3DT. Just going to call it Tut Island, just for the time. It doesn't really matter what you call it. And then just hit OK. It may take a while to generate depending on the resolutions you chose, the settings you chose, how good your PC is. So it may take a while, but just bear with it. It could take 10 minutes, it can take 2 hours. It really depends on the computer. Okay, so this is the terrain I got, I guess. One thing I'm not too pleased with, I'm not too pleased with the preset I chose. When I was doing a texture map, I forgot to choose the preset I liked, so I'm going to delete this layer and I'm going to redo it and select the preset one. And also, when you ever do any big changes to your terrain, say you delete this massive chunk, you're going to want to delete every single map, the water map, the sanity map, all of this, and redo it all in this exact order here. So you would start with the water map, then your attributes map, your terrain normals, your light map, and then you would move on to your texture map. That's how you would do it. So that's every time you make edits to your terrain, you would need to do that. To do it every big update you do. So I'm just going to quickly delete this layer. It's as simple as right clicking, then you just hit close. Now if you want to make it again, you go operations, texture map, generate map. The preset I wanted to select was Aaron recommends, because I don't know, the grass is just darker and it looks a lot nicer than with the other presets. So I'm just going to hit OK on that, and I'll be back when that's done. Alright, so I'm done with this now, and that's pretty much all I need, so I'm gonna go save this quickly, so just save the project before I do anything, and I'll tell you what each layer does once I actually finish saving it. Oh, one thing I forgot before that, there's one more layer we need to generate. It's the alpha map, and that's what decides what texture goes where. So operations, alpha map, and then we'll generate the map. We'll just wait for this to prepare the texture list. Alright, so what this does is in the layers.cfg, whatever color, it will choose whatever texture. So this is where it kind of does that. There's a lot of different things. There's sand, pebbles, cliffs, cliffs grey, cliffs steep, grass lush, grass steep, and all of that. But really, I feel like that's just for the tutorial. I'm not gonna have that many different presets, as they need to all be really high contrasting colors. Otherwise, it might mix them up for being the same color and load the wrong texture. So we'll make anything on the shore red. So sand, that's on the shore. Pebbles, that's all on the shore. So we'll make that 1. So now they're both reds. Cliffs, we will make them green. So any other cliffs, we'll just turn that green quick. So cliff steep. Okay. I think there's more cliffs, I'm not quite sure. No, I think that's it. Then grass we have is blue. So we'll make the rest of the grass 3 as well. And snow. I had no idea there was snow, but we can just ignore snow as, yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. So I'll just make that 3 as well. Oh, turns out there's a lot of snow, but doesn't seem like it. Maybe there isn't. Alright, so that's that. We can hit next. I would make it 24-bit. BMP. BMP is always gonna let you know now. BMP is always the best format to use for Terrain Builder because it's the quickest to import. A PNG at the same resolution will take hours to import, while this can take seconds. So I'm just gonna do that, and it needs to be high resolution also. So 10 times the amount, the same as your other map images. So this is my alpha map. The green would be the rocks, I'm guessing. The blue would be the grass, and the red would be the sand and the pebbles and everything. So we're gonna need to export this. BMP would be the best format, like I said. So we'll need to put that to source, not in L3DT, but source, and we'll name it mask. So that will be our mask layer. And that can just export quickly. Okay, now that that's done, we're gonna get our terrain normals and just wait for this to calculate all the bitmaps and grids and everything. We're gonna export this and just call it the normal map. So let me just do that quick in the same exact place. Yeah, so this is just the 3D rough outline of the terrain. So export layer as a BMP. BMP is always the best format, and we'll call it a normal map. Doesn't really matter what you call it as long as you know it's the normal map and everything. So quickly export that and just let that export. Okay, now that that's done, we have our texture map, which I'm pretty sure I didn't. Yeah, I didn't yet. So export as a BMP. We'll call that the sat map and just export it there. Make sure you're doing all of these to the resolution, the correct one, the high resolution one. So we'll just let that export quickly. The last one to export would be the actual terrain itself, so we'll do that as well. So now we have our actual height field, and we'll export this as an XYZ. That's the best format. So this won't be in the 10Ks, it will be in the 1Ks, so 1024. And we'll just call it terrain.xyz, and we'll save that. Right. Now, the next thing you're gonna do, we're gonna need to get the colors for our mask and textures. So I'm gonna open up Photoshop, and I'm gonna make a new, like some new texture classes. Oh, okay. So mask over there. There we go. And then that. So we're gonna find the color for the blue, what it is in the actual RGB color. It is 00255. So grass will be 00255. Then we have some other textures to do, but I'm gonna quickly see on my other one what kind of textures I use. So Lakeside Islands, this is the map I've been working on. Yeah, I've just been modifying the Lakeside source files, so yeah, around 1, 2, 3, 4, about 8 textures would be a good amount to use. And that's all you really need to use, really, like, nothing more than that. Unless you really want to make a detailed map, which, I don't know, it's not needed, but, you know, it would always look good. So I'm just going to quickly add some textures to this and find out the colors using Photoshop. So, what we need to do is, let me just make sure I've got everything. Yep. We need to copy the class. So I'll just copy these, this amount of text over here, go down and paste that over there. We'll call it GDT rock, just call it rock. And then we'll copy another one and call it sand. GDT sand. It doesn't really matter what it's called, as long as you actually have it all there. So now we need to path the textures, so it'll all be in data and everything. So JF underscore tutorial island data and then the texture name. So it's not going to be grass, it's going to be GDT rock. Same goes for the RV mat rock. And then we'll rename this one to sand, if I can spell. And same here. We also need to get the colors and everything. So I'll just grab this over here, if I could copy that properly. Copy that and paste it in the right place. So paste that over there. We'll find the color for, we'll do rock. So rock would be the green, I'm assuming. That's what it looks like on the diagram over here. So we'll get the sample of the green, which is 02550. So we'll set this to 0. We'll set this to 255. And we'll copy that and we'll do the sand texture. Again, if I could copy it properly. Tab that over there, and we need to find the red color, which is 25500. So back that up, 255. Delete this and put 0 there. That's pretty much done, but we're gonna need the textures. So I'm gonna close that now, and I'm gonna save this. Yeah. And we're also going to need to rename this sand, because we can't have 2 rocks, really. There we go. So that's the layers done, pretty much. And now I'm just going to grab the textures. So I'm going to just use the textures that I'm using on my lakeside map. So I'm going to make a new folder quick. Textures, just a placeholder to put them. Grass. I don't know if that's the one it's using. Hang on, let me just quickly see. Yeah. So AL grass, this is the grass. I've modified this one to be the perfect color to the satellite image that L3DT makes. I'll put this in the kind of description as well. We might as well rename it AL grass, so we don't have to rename the whole texture as well. So I'll make it say what all of this says. So class AL underscore grass. Don't know why it's got 1S, but we'll just have to deal with it. AL underscore grass. There we go. And the texture would be AL underscore grass. Same with the RV map. Okay. Now we need to get our rock texture. I'm not sure which one I actually use. Rock. No idea that isn't it. That's the empty. I think I use this. You can change your rock texture. I'm just going to find. I mean, this definitely isn't the correct color, but I'm just going to use this as a placeholder for now. So I'm going to take the grass as well. I forgot to take that. So we'll take the grass, copy it, Also the RV map, we can't forget the RV map. So we'll copy that and put that in textures. There's that done. Our rock as well. So copy that, put that in textures. And the sand, which doesn't exist. I have sand on my other custom app that I did. So data, sand, green grass, beach. There it is. It's str beach. So copy that in there, put that in there, and that's done. Now we just need to make sure the textures are perfect and they're right. So GDT rock, this needs to be changed to AL rock. So AL underscore rock. AL underscore rock. And same with the RV map, AL underscore rock. Okay, stand, that's gonna be called GDT underscore str beach. I'm just gonna copy and paste that as I really can't be bothered to type that. GDT str beach, and then put that there as well. We'll also put that here as well. And change the class to AL underscore rock. There we go. Yeah, also you have your map legend. This is where it's picking the colors from. I showed you that earlier. It's just sampling the colors from there, so that's already there for me. And you can change your path with that if you really want to, but it should be in data. Or source, no, it should be in source when you're generating your actual layers. So that's that done. I'm just going to make sure everything's there and it's all perfect. AL grass, yep. Now that that's done, we can save that. And we need to get the RV maps done, so I'll go to my tutorial map. JF underscore tutorial island. Data. I'll delete what's in there because I'm not a fan of that grass texture. I'll copy all of this. And we need to do the RV maps. So for the RV maps, it reads directly from the PBO. So this is the directory that your terrain builder is going to read from normally. And then down here, you have, this is what the game's going to read. And I wouldn't put your P drive there because it's just reading straight from the PBO. So the PBO, it was Lakeside Islands because that was mine. But we're going to rename it to whatever my one is. So JF underscore tutorial island. Every time you rename your map or change any paths, you're going to need to change your paths and the names of everything in your RV maps, otherwise you're going to have problems with your textures. So JF underscore tutorial islands. Also make sure everything's capitalized because I have OCD. And then that should be it for the grass RV map. We'll just hit file, then save. Now we'll do rock as well. Just highlight that. JF underscore tutorial underscore island. Forgot whether it was an S or at the end. I forgot whether it's plural. But we can check back on that later. We'll see if there's an error if the textures are all bland. So JF underscore tutorial island. And we'll save that. And then we'll just have to do the same with the beach, so. And then down here as well. There we go. I accidentally put 2 JFs, yeah. Don't muddle up your paths. So there we go, that's the RV maps done. Just gonna make sure everyone is perfect, just they're done properly. Yep. Same with up here. And yep, that's that done. So that's our textures done. We need to actually get it into Terrain Builder now.